Hi to all, welcome to HEF's channel. You're watching Health, Environment, Food Safety, Sustainability Solutions. Today we are discussing very interesting topic, that is COVID-19 guidance document for air conditioning and ventilations. So for this we have to specially discussion for how to operate air conditioning and ventilation system to control spread of coronavirus disease in residences, workspaces and healthcare facilities. So this is a entire how to control that COVID-19 in this HVAC systems and air conditioning and ventilation systems. So in all healthcare facilities and workspaces. So let us discussion for introduction for that. The COVID-19 pandemic, commonly known as corona, has engulfed the world and India as no exceptions. The COVID-19 virus belongs to the corona family, to which SARS and MERS also belong. As the COVID-19 virus is still not fully understood, the behavior of SARS and MERS is considered as reference to the extent they do not contradict the present observations. The COVID-19 virus affects the respiratory tract and starts with symptoms similar to the common flu. So this virus is mutated strain, and as of today no vaccine is available. So the COVID-19 infection may result deteriorating health, or patient's body immunity may resist in the infection but still remain a carrier. Close contact with those who are infected and coughing or sneezing without mask protection can spread the infection. The best prevention as of today is ensuring isolation and social distancing from an infected person. The difficult part is the carrier is asymptomatic in the incubation period varying from 7 to 15 days. So most governments have therefore adopted distancing and isolation to avoid contact by locking down cities and countries to different degrees. So next topic is how to transmit the COVID-19 routes. COVID-19 transmission routes. The size of the coronavirus particle in the range of 80 to 160 nanometers. It is transferred via infected microscopic airborne particles and contaminated aerosol droplets. Droplets and small particles of a broad spectrum of diameter get generated during the course of coughing and sneezing, and to a lesser extent even by talking and breathing also. So most large cough droplets fall on nearby surface and objects such as desks and tables, where they remain active for hours, even to 2 to 3 days. People can get infected by touching those contaminated surfaces or objects and then touching their eyes, nose or mouth. If people are standing within 1 to 2 meters of an infected person, they can be infected by breathing in droplets, sneezed or coughed out or exhaled by them. So like small particles lesser than 5 microns released during cough stay airborne for hours and can be transported over long distance. Small droplet nuclei residue are formed from droplets in the air, which shrink in size of due to the process of evaporation and desiccation in low humidity. So it is known that most of the infection particles ranging from 0.65 to 3.3 microns, so in the cough generated aerosols, were immediately respirable. So there is also no reported data or studies to rule out the possibility of the airborne particle route. So one indication for this coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 has been isolated from swabs taken from exhaust vents in rooms occupied by the infected patients. Apart from cough generated aerosols, the particulates suspended in the air also represent a substrate for viruses and consequently their transmission through this path. So in this indoor environment, one of the source of dust is atmosphere dust and particulate matter PM 2.5 and PM 10 coming in through fresh air intakes. The other prominent source is the dust generated by humans and processes. So reduction of the indoor dust levels is a step towards mitigation of this source of COVID-19 transmission. The fecal transmission route of SARS-CoV-2 infection is implicitly recognized by World Health Organizations. It is known that flushing toilets are creating clumps in the air containing droplets and droplet residue. When toilets are flushed with open lids. This makes it important with the use of exhaust fans, toilets, air should not come into the occupied areas. If toilet seats are equipped with lids, it is recommended to flush the toilets with closed lids in order to minimize the release of droplets and droplet residues from plums in the air. Another path for transmission is when virus laden aerosols are deposited on apparel and on the floor and then get resuspended into the air due to the movement of people. So that is why sanitizing the floors frequently and limiting the movement of people is helpful to curtailing this route of transmission. In healthcare facilities, sanitization of apparel is recommended as per the protocol. So next topic is that what is how effect of environmental conditions. So in this relative humidity, so we are discussing for humidity, relative humidity. So relative humidity is found to affect the ineffectively the case with which infection can take place of virus through respiratory route. The normal human body has excellent protection system to prevent respiratory infections. There are several layers of filters starting with the mouth and windpipe. The moist surface having mucus layer collect the larger particles before they enter the trachea and pharynx in the upper respiratory tract. So in the lower respiratory tract, the bronchi and alveoli can trap smaller particles to various degrees of efficiency. So when we breathe the dry air, mucous membrane in the lungs become dry. The fluid overlining the cells becomes more viscous, and the little hairs called cilia, which protects our lungs from deep settling of viable and non-viable particles. So can't work and particles settle more deeply in the lungs. If we consider oxygen and carbon dioxide transport and the blood, it is only one cell membrane that separates the airspace from the blood. So if something goes from our lungs into the blood, we get infected. So moisture in the air is the first arm of our immune system. And we know that our body can't fight off foreign particles of invaders as adequately as when we are in dry environment. Further, the ineffectivity of the bacteria too increases with low humidity. So relative humidity of at least 40% is considered the threshold. Studies indicate that 80% relative humidity and the above tend to neutralize the COVID-19 virus. However, too much humidity leads the higher level of dust, mites and fungi. So two of the worst culprits for indoor allergy sufferers, mold and fungi, are known to the exacerbate respiratory conditions such as asthma. All these consider the relative humidity level of 40 to 60% is considered to be the most suitable environment for humans and decreases the problems from pathogens. So next we are discussing temperatures. So temperature tends to be a factor that directly affects the comfort of building or hospital occupants. The comfort temperature is generated consider between 24 to 30 degree temperature after accounting of air velocity, relative humidity and clothing. The study of the transmission of COVID-19 virus in 100 cities of China indicates that high temperature of and high humidity significantly reduce the transmission of influenza. The studies conducted at various RH levels have shown that using virus culture methods, low temperatures 7 to 8 degrees were optimal for airborne influenza survival, with virus survival decreasing progressively and moderate temperatures 20.5 to 24 degree temperature and further decreases at higher greater than 30 degree temperatures. So as per some recent studies, SARS-CoV-2 has been found highly stable on surfaces for 14 days at 4 degrees, 1 day at 37 degree and 30 minutes at 56 degree were needed to inactivate the virus. So what is the residential applications? So in residential spaces are cooled by room air conditions, evaporator, coolers and fans. Room air conditions control the temperature and reduce humidity. Evaporate coolers are effective in hot and dry climates only. They reduce temperature by evaporating water. Fans provide body comfort by convection and evaporation due to increased air motion. So room air conditioners. Room air conditioners recirculate air with a single occupied zone. Capacities vary from 1 to 3 TR tons of refrigeration installed for a single room application. The entry of occupants into such spaces is controllable. Recirculation of cool air by room air conditioners must be accompanied by outdoor air intake through slightly open windows and exhaust by natural exfiltration. Fresh air intake through a fan filter until will prevent outdoor dust entry, and exhaust through kitchen and toilet exhaust fan kept operational. So it's containing high level of PM10 and PM2.5 particles. So room temperature between 24 degree and 30 degree. So maintain relative humidity between 40% and 70%. In humid climates, set temperature closer to 24 degree for dehumidification. In dry climates, closer to or 30 degree and use fans to increase air movement. So in dry climates, do not allow relative humidity to fall below 40%. Water evaporating from a pan kept in the room will increase humidity if it falls in below 40%. So what is the evaporative coolers? So evaporative coolers, often known as a desert coolers, provide effective cooling. In the hot and dry climates, a fan draws hot and dry outdoors air woven water saturated pads, causing the water to evaporate and cool the air. Air leaving the evaporative cooler is up to 15 degree temperature, cooler than outdoor air, is directed inward. So most evaporated coolers do not have air filters as original equipment, but they can fit it to the cooler during or after installation. This is advisable to prevent dust entry and maintain hygiene. Evaporate cooler tanks must be kept clean and disinfected and the water drained and refilled frequently. Horizontal flow evaporative coolers installed in windows can effectively cool a room or a section of a room. Windows must be kept open to release humid air. Portable evaporate coolers that do not draw outdoor air are not recommended since their cooling reduces with humidity rising inside the space. So evaporative coolers must draw air from outside to ensure good ventilation. Fans such as a ceiling and pedestal type are an inexpensive and effective method to provide indoor comfort. They increase body comfort by increasing air motion to dissipate heat by convection and evaporation. Fans should be operated with windows kept partly open. If an exhaust fan is located at an nearby location, then it must be running to exhaust air for better ventilation. Commercial and industrial facilities. So commercial establishment and industrial facilities have multiple occupancy as well as transient visitors. It is the aspect that necessitates precautions in operating their air conditioning system. For the purpose of guidance for operation during a pandemic like COVID-19, air condition is a categorized based on the type of indoor unit is installed. These indoor units may be connected via refrigerant or chilled water pipes to DX outdoor units, VRF outdoor units, or a chiller. The best action to limit risk of COVID-19 infection by air is to ventilate indoor environments with outdoor air as much as possible. Mechanical ventilation system and air conditioning systems which provide ventilation can perform this function more effectively than simply opening the windows, because they improve the quality of the outdoor air with filtration. Categories of indoor units: multiple cassette units, ceiling mounted units that can each cool up to 50 square meter and can be controlled individually as a group. Multiple high wall units used due to each insulation and low cost. Tower units for larger spaces where most occupants are not stationary, thus allowing for higher drafts. Okay, and ducted units, a mini central air conditioning system that is easy to operate. Fan coil units installed in a guest rooms, individual office spaces, or patient wards. Air handling units can provide better ventilation, filtration, coil disinfecting. So what is the operating guidelines for all categories? Air filters must be kept clean as given the operation and maintenance schedule. Provide adequate ventilation, fresh air and exhaust. Inspect and clean the indoor unit coils as given the operation maintenance schedule. Set room temperature between 24 and 30 degree temperature. Maintain relative humidity between 40% and 80 and 70%. In humid climates, set temperature closer 24 for dehumidification, and dry climates closer to our 30 degree. Use fans to increase air movement. And heat recovery wheel HRW. It is advisable to keep this wheel in off mode to reduce cross contamination. Upon restarting, the wheel must first be sanitized. Toilets and kitchen exhaust fans must be kept in operating mode. So what is the recommendations for category 1, 2 and 3 and indoor units? So if fresh air is not provided, it is advisable to introduce a fresh air duct attached to central inline fan filter and unit and distribute the fresh air by grills into the space or near the indoor units. For cassette units, the fresh air duct may be connected to the available port of the cassette unit. In case fresh air can't be provided through a fan, it is recommended to actively use operable windows. So a minimum fresh air volume 8.5 cubic meter per hour per person and 1.1 cubic meter per hour per square meters, 5 CFM per person and 0.06 CFM per square feet is recommended. This is only fresh air volume recommended. A separate treated fresh air DX unit may be provided in the case of multiple unit installation. So this will be reduce the impact of reducing available a cooling capacity by supplying a non-treated fresh air. So what is the recommendation for category 4, 5, 6 indoor units? Fresh air must be provided by inlet duct and fan. It is advisable to provide source and MERVs 13 or higher filter fitted on the air handling unit, if it is a higher filtering capability, is retrofitted into an existing system. Care shall be taken to ensure that the fan and motor capacities are adequately to handle the higher pressure drop. A minimum fresh air volume of 8.5 cube hour per person and 1.1 cube hour per square meter is recommended. The recommendation is to maximize supply of outside air within the limits of the system. In building without mechanical ventilation system, it is recommended to actively use operable windows. Add a TFA, treated fresh air unit if recommended fresh air intake impacts cooling performance. Install UVGI ultraviolet germicidal irradiation for larger ducted units and AHUs to keep coils continuously clean and disinfected. It is advisable to inspect the AHUs and ducts for air tightness and low leakage. So what is the additional recommendations for industrial facilities? So minimum air changes of for around 10 to 15 ACHP is advised for good ventilation. The mechanical exhaust air shall be 70% to 80% of fresh air quantity to maintain necessity positive pressure in the space. In case of evaporative cooling air washers, it is advisable to disinfect the water using UVGI or ionization or chemical dosing. Run the system in fan only mode for 30 to 60 minutes every day to dry the cooling pads. The run only pumps for water circulation without fans in operation for 30 minutes to wash out any bacterial growth. Finally, flush in the water from the tanks and restart the system with fresh water. So in case of recirculating system, it is recommended to limit return air circulation. The return air system could be converted to an exhausted system. So the same process must be followed in case of evaporating cooling is used for a commercial facility. So coming to healthcare facilities, converting a general patient rooms for ICU into the COVID-19 patient areas, consideration pertaining to HVAC system. COVID-19 positive patients and patient with COVID-19 related symptoms are to be accommodated in designated airborne infection isolation rooms in hospitals to control spread of disease. However, due to the surge in the number of such patients, healthcare facilities may not have adequate number of airborne infection isolation rooms (AI rooms) to accommodate to all such patients. Hence, healthcare facilities would need to convert their existing patient rooms or ICUs into COVID-19 patient rooms or COVID-19 ICUs to handle the current pandemic. The most important factor in this scenario is to ensure that the virus-laden airborne particles do not leak out the rooms occupied by COVID-19 patients, and also to maintain the concentration of virus-laden particles inside the COVID-19 patient rooms at a temperature. So this is required to control the spread of infection and also to protect the healthcare workers. As it is a normal practice, most of the patients' rooms would be served by HVAC system. That would be a recirculatory type of wherein the air from the room is taken back to the AHU for the thermal conditioning and brought back. The same HVAC system could also be connected to a few other areas of hospital. In some cases, there might be no dedicated return air duct, and it could be a ceiling return system. If COVID-19 patient had to be admitted to such rooms, it would be present a significant risk of the virus-laden particles spreading out from the designated COVID-19 patient rooms. So to convert an existing patient room or ICU into a COVID-19 patient area, it is first necessary to convert the room into a non-recirculatory system 100% once through the system on an emergency basis. This can be achieved by blanking or blocking of the return air vents in the COVID-19 patient room. It is important to make sure that AHU will have the provision to receive adequate outdoor air supply. The outdoor air source for the AHU shall not be from the within the building, and all care shall be taken to avoid intake of outdoor contaminants to the best possible extent. Additionally, an independent exhaust blower shall be provided to extract the room air and exhaust out into the atmosphere. So preferably after suitable exhaust air treatment, the exhaust air quantity shall be greater than the supply of air quantity, such that a negative pressure of minimum 2.5 Pa preferably is achieved in the room. It is advisable to install the differential pressure meters to measure this metric. The supply air quantity shall be such that it will be provided a minimum of 12 air changes per hour. The position of the extract air in the room shall be just above the head of the patient's bed. So treatment of exhaust air from COVID-19 patient areas. The exhaust air is the most likely to contain a particles carrying a viral load, and hence the suitable technique should be deployed to prevent the spread of infections. Treatment of exhaust air can be done by preferably by HEPA filtration. HEPA filter shall be tested and certified for performance in accordance with the international standards like EST, IEST, IEN, ISO, IS. These HEPA filters shall be minimum S13 EN 1822 filter class or equivalent. When not possible treatment, if exhaust air be chemical disinfection is acceptable. When both the methods are viable, the exhaust air shall be left off into the atmosphere through the upward plumb at height of 3 meters above the tallest point of building, thereby lowering the viral load and concentration to insignificant levels by dilution. So this exhaust discharge shall be well away from other air intake points and populated in places. When HEPA filters are used to treat the exhaust air, it is preferably to install them at primary point of air extraction in the room, and the exhaust blower shall be at the discharge end of the exhaust dust where applicable. So chemical disinfection of the exhaust air from COVID-19 patient room can be done by the bubbling the exhaust air through a diffused air aerator tank holding 1% sodium hypochlorite solution. The concentration shall be checked by on a regular basis and dosing undertaken based on the needed. The aeration tank shall be placed in a unpopulated outdoor area and not inside enclosed space. Suitable PPE shall be used while handling hypochlorite solution, and direct contact with skin and eyes shall be avoided. The above chemical inactivation procedure for treatment of exhaust air is suggested based on available information at this time. So these are other two options available for exhaust air treatment being UV irradiation and heating. MER Darnell so observed that exposure time of 45 minutes at temperature 75 degrees resulted in the complete inactivation of the SARS-CoV-19. Similarly, UVC irradiation with the exposure time of 15 minutes of irradiation intensity of 4016 micro centimeter square resulted in the complete inactivation of SARS-CoV-19. So if it is to be the noted that the exhaust system could be have a viral load deposits, some of which may be active, therefore suitable personal and environmental protection protocols shall be followed during any maintenance activity on the exhaust system. For personal protection and to avoid environmental spill, it may be noted that the treatment of exhaust air by HEPA filtration is the preferred method, and the other suggested methods may be adopted due to the non-availability of HEPA systems. Disinfections of the condensate water from the air conditioning system shall be done as per mentioned that operation and maintenance section of this document, and setting of the make shift isolation enclosures. So in resource constrained healthcare settings, several COVID-19 patients may be required to be admitted to the single large room. So this presents a significant risk to the healthcare workers as well as the possibility of environmental spread of virus load and particles. For such instances, A makeshift patient isolation enclosure could provide the necessary protection. So this could be a temporary makeshift cubicle or tent constructed of a skeleton structure and a plastic sheet or canvas covering. The tent shall be covered in all sides excepting the front. The where PVC strip curtains can be provided. Arrangement for light and fan inside the tent can be provided for the comfort of the patient as necessary. The tent shall be provided within an exhaust blower to the extract to the air inside the enclosure and exhaust out into the atmosphere after suitable treatment. So exhaust air treatment can be done as mentioned, and the exhaust blower shall be so sized that a negative pressure of that like 2.5 pressure as a maintained inside the enclosure. So in case of air conditioned patient rooms where exhaust blower can't be fixed, or in case of patient rooms served by unitary air conditioner, the isolation enclosures can be installed inside the patient room with HEPA filters exhaust air. So the exhaust air after HEPA filtration can be discharged inside the room. So this provides a localized negative pressure zone inside the room and helps control infection spread and offers protection to the healthcare workers. And how to do the quarantine areas? COVID-19 quarantine areas also how to do. For quarantine refers to separation of individuals who are not yet ill but have been exposed to COVID-19 and therefore have a potential to become ill. The quarantine can happen at home or in quarantine center. So where several such individuals may be under quarantine. In a quarantine situation, it is the physical distancing and avoidance of contact, direct or indirect transmission in this key. That is the main key. And a quarantine center shall be well ventilated and preferably be maintained a negative or a neutral differential pressure. When mechanical ventilation is resorted to, it shall be a once throughout the system, non-circulatory system that provides a clean to dirty towards the patients and away to the exhaust airflow pattern. Care shall be taken to ensure that exhaust air shall be let discharge into areas that have very less or no human traffic. Rooms with stand-alone air conditioning systems that do not recirculate the air to the other parts of the building are preferred to be used as a quarantine rooms. So what is the portable room air cleaners? At the outset, it is important to note that portable air cleaner will only clean the air that passes through the site cleaner. The air cleaner will not be able to protect people from direct droplets and indirect surface contamination exposure, but can help reduce the indoor concentration of contaminants through the action of dilution. So those over period of time, the air in the space can be cleansed with the right air cleaners. So there are many technologies used the portable air cleaners with regards to removing virus and bacteria specifically. Technologies vary from the passive filtration to active filtration with all sort of claims. With any active filtration technology, it is important to ensure the single pass efficiency and the possibility of any harmful byproducts that may be released due to the active nature of the cleaning. Some of the technology used are the ionization, bipolar ionization, PCO, ESP, ozone generators. So like this, the efficacy of some of this is not yet clearly proven, and in fact some of these technologies may have contra indications. UVGA, if deployed correctly, has proven to the useful in activating the bioaerosols. So passive technologies include HEPA filtration, can remove particles down to the 0.1 micrometers or even smaller particles. H1, H13 certified or equivalent HEPA filter should be able to remove these viruses from the air that passes through the cleaner. One must be aware the number of the air changes when installing the portable air cleaners in a given space. Ideally, one must design air cleaners with above 3 to 4 air changes per hour. The higher the air changes, the better the efficacy of cleaning. The one must be careful when reading the CAD or numbers, or one must be commercial products as they will give you either the highest number. So based on the highest fan speed. so which will be very noisy or will give the free flow air handling capacity of the fan motor. So hence one must be analyze the airflow in cubic meter per hour, that unit at different speeds, and choose a machine with a right airflow uh, based on the room size and fan speed to ensure proper filtration and comfort. That includes the desired level of the uh, quietness. So coming to that operation and maintenance, it's a very key role for operation and maintenance. These recommendations are limited to operations of HVAC systems during the COVID-19 pandemic, excluding COVID-19 areas in healthcare. Residential applications in this, the room may be kept well ventilated during the period of non-AC of AC with fans running. As an extra precaution, the frequency of service can be increased. It is advisable to clean the indoor unit filters by the end user as per the instruction given the user manual by the manufacturer. In case there is a needed to the call the technician, it is advisable to call the company authorized technician. Careful evaluation should be done by the customer and the service technician on the nature of the breakdown and decide on the repairs location site. So workshop. So in case of major breakdown, it is advisable to request for a replacement machine to the having minimized contact time with the technician. Commercial application, the most commercial establishment have the remained closed during the lockdown. So these establishment will need maintenance for both engineering and health safety. The air conditioner spaces establishment under prolonged lockdown will pose health hazards due to the fungi and molds in the ducts and open spaces depending on the humidity and temperatures prevailing within. Further, they may be breed bird droppings and excrete of rodents as well as the increased level of insects. The system not be designed for sufficient fresh air intake and ventilation. The following steps are recommended for the startup of air conditioning system. The user of the owner should be get the area sanitized. Study the fresh air and exhaust system adequately as per the guidelines and inform the user to modify the system if found inadequate. Carry the preventive maintenance on all the units as per the manufacturer guidelines. This should include the disinfecting and cleaning of filters, grills, diffusers, intense surfaces. It is recommended to use a 5% Crisal solution containing 50% Crisal and 50% liquid soap solution. Mix 1 liter of this solution in 9 liters of the water. The surface shall be sprayed with the solution, left for 10 minutes and then washed, wiped clean with water cloth. The above methodology only the washable filters. The condensate drain pan, disinfecting the treatment of the condensate drain pan is suggested using a UV treatment of 1% sodium hypochlorite dosing. So this will be applied only if the HVAC equipment is working on the recirculating mode. Coils, follow the standard recommendation of coiled cleaning and the sanitize using the same protocol as that of the filter specified zone. In case of the area has ducted air distribution, it is advisable to clean to the ducts by the appropriate methods that maybe include sanitization. The following process is recommended at startup. Open all the doors and windows of the space. Ensure that all cleaning protocols as advised above are complete. Run the fresh air system at the maximum intake of air settling. Start and run the exhaust system if available. Start the air conditioning system in fan mode only without filters and run it for the minimum of 2 or 4 hours with the doors open and exhaust system operational. Install the clean and sanitize filters. Start the AC in the normal mode and run to the 2 hours with the doors and open and then close the doors and windows. The fresh air and ventilation system should be kept throughout the off cycle and the weekend and holidays are the air circulation mode. So it's a very important. What is the guidance of for service technicians? So all service technicians and technical team for our commercial buildings or any workplace areas. What is the safety of the service technicians in this scenario of paramount? What is the paramount of the recommendation for this guidance? Is what is the do's? Do's is Carry company identity card, authorized letter during lockdown. Avoid public transport. Use public vehicle as far as possible. Disinfect the vehicle before and after the visit on daily basis. Special attention to be given to the handle, steering, gear rod, handbrake, dashboard, seat belt. The driver, if accompanying, should stay inside the vehicle except for essential health breaks or emergency. And check for the home quarantine stickers, stamp and the customer location. Don't enter in case of in such stamp sticker and reschedule the service. Maintain social distancing norm and wear a face mask. Avoid personal contact including handshakes with co-workers and customers. Carry your own water bottle and food as required. Wash hands often for at least 20 seconds with soap. Always carry alcohol-based sanitizer and use whenever hand washing is not possible. Use prescribed PPE, personal protective equipment. Carry a sanitary bag of adequate size to keep a replaced item in a disposed safely. And also follow proper disposal methods for used PPE, mask, gloves, goggles. Monitor your health closely. If you develop the symptoms like fever, cough, sore throat, tiredness or shortness of breathing, immediately inform the office and take necessary action as advised by the government. Do not continue to work under these circumstances. Avoid dusting of alcohol based sanitizer before working with electrical sources. What is the don'ts? Never board unknown personnel in the vehicle. Never touch the common items provided in the customer place such as a newspaper or common towel. Never handle other person's belongings or share food and water from others. Never use another person's crash helmets or PPE. Do not hand over the one mobile phone to another mobile or colleagues. Don't share a pen, especially for service report signature from customer. Instead of ask the customer to use their own pen. Never enter premises which are marked as isolated, quarantined. So you can whatever your tools is there, you can sanitize in before and after thoroughly. Your thermometer or your all electrical tools before and after thoroughly clean and sanitized. What is the additional precautions at hospitals and laboratories? In DOS. In hospital and laboratories, in DOS is the tools and tackles should be sanitized before and after every visit, including the bag. Compulsorily wear surgical nose mask before entering inside the hospital and laboratory sites. Change the mask every 6 hours as soon as it becomes a wet. All technicians should wear a clean long sleeved gown or full body suit, N95 respirator, gloves, face cover if they need to enter the COVID-19 patient isolation ward to COVID-19 lab. After the exit, dispose the used PPEs into the designated in red color bin. Carry a disposable bag adequate size to keep the removed replaced item disinfect from the suitable location, the hospital premises. Barricade the area while rendering in the service to avoid the trespassing. For rendering the service outside the conditioned zone such as a chillers, outdoor units, fresh air, AHUs, cooling towers. Ensure that the authorities have cleaned and disinfected before the work is started. Maintain complete record of the time spent in the premises. So what is the don'ts? Don'ts is come in the close contact with the patients and visitor in the hospital site. Touch biohazardous components such as a surgical knife, needles and lab equipment. Use cotton and cloths. And don't touch your handrails. Don't touch objects such as a lift buttons, door handles and fixtures with your bare hands. And how to disinfect all tools and tackles? The first, clean the surfaces, removing any contaminated dust or debris. You can do this by wiping them with a soap water and a hand towel, wash towel with soap water. Then apply a surface appropriate disinfected. The quickest and easiest way to do this is the disinfect the wipes, disinfect the spray, isopropyl alcohol used for hydrogen peroxide. So all this you have to use for mask and removal of gloves in the critical as when you start the work, when you complete the work, and without contamination you can use for personal protective. So this is the very important for this all technicians and service providers. So in these healthcare buildings and operation maintenance, how for air conditioning and ventilation system to control the spread of coronavirus in residences and workspaces and healthcare facilities. So this is the entire guidelines from received from Indian Society of Heating, Refrigerating, Air Conditioning Engineers ISRE, and also World Health Organization's references, and also we take in the ASHRAE references. So request you to all these workplaces managers, facilities managers, HVAC technicians, AC technicians, all engineering manager, technical managers, and especially in wherever working in critical scenario, critical areas, technicians, request you to please read thoroughly and listen, follow and implement your area without coronavirus in your workplaces. Thank you. Thanks a lot.